The tension in the strategic meeting room of the Galactic Alliance was palpable. Representatives from various advanced species sat around a large, oval table, their faces grim. The Cathar warriors, with their rigid postures and battle-scarred exoskeletons, occupied one side of the room. The telepathic Signians, with their large, luminous eyes and slender frames, sat opposite them. The pragmatic Voltec engineers, their mechanical appendages constantly adjusting and tinkering with small devices, were scattered throughout. At the head of the table stood Admiral Theron, his ancient, scaled face betraying little emotion as he activated a holographic display in the center of the table. "The Void Devourers have destroyed Outpost Epsilon 9, he announced, his voice grave. "Our most fortified position in the Cygnus Arm is gone. 17,000 personnel, 3 battlecruisers, all consumed." The hologram showed a massive, amorphous entity, a swirling vortex of dark energy that seemed to bend light around it. As they watched, it engulfed a space station, the structure simply dissolving into the creature's formless mass. "These entities are unlike anything we've encountered," Theron continued. "They appear to be non-corporeal energy constructs capable of absorbing enormous amounts of power from ships, stations, and even planetary defense systems. Conventional weapons have proven ineffective." Commander Borak, the Cathar representative, slammed his armored fist on the table. "Then we must use unconventional weapons. A direct assault with our largest fleet, concentrated antimatter warheads at their core regions. We will overwhelm them with sheer firepower." Admiral Lyra of the Signians shook her head, her silver hair catching the light. "Violence is not the answer to everything, Borak. My people have attempted telepathic contact. These entities have consciousness, but it's utterly alien. We might find a weakness if we understand their nature better." Chief Engineer Grok, a senior Voltec, projected schematics from his mechanical arm. "I propose advanced energy shields, reconfigured to match the inverse frequency pattern of their absorption fields. If we can block their feeding, we can neutralize the threat." As the debate grew heated, with each representative advocating for their species' traditional approach, no one paid attention to the human sitting quietly in the corner of the room. Alara Vance was the only human representative present, a data analyst assigned to the Galactic Alliance's strategic division. Unlike the others, she wasn't participating in the argument. Instead, she focused intently on her personal terminal, her fingers moving rapidly across multiple data streams, occasionally adjusting simulation models and making notes. Commander Borak noticed her silence and snorted. "Why do we even have a human here? Your species barely mastered interstellar travel a century ago. What could you possibly contribute to this discussion?" Admiral Lyra shot Borak a disapproving look, but seemed equally puzzled by Alara's detachment. Chief Engineer Grok didn't even acknowledge her presence, continuing to elaborate on shield modifications. Alara didn't respond to the provocation, her attention fixed on the complex energy patterns displayed on her screen. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication. Admiral Theron's face darkened as he received the news. "The 3rd Patrol Fleet attempted Commander Borak's direct assault approach," he announced. "We've lost contact with all 17 vessels. Preliminary readings suggest complete absorption by a single Void Devourer. The entity appears to have grown significantly following the encounter." Panic spread throughout the room. The previously confident strategies crumbled in the face of this devastating news. "We must escalate," Borak shouted, though his voice now carried a tinge of desperation. "Double the fleet size, triple the firepower." "That's suicide," Lyra countered. "We need to retreat, regroup, research. There must be another way." Grok's mechanical appendages clicked rapidly as he reassessed his designs. "The shield calculations. They won't hold against this level of energy absorption. We need more time to develop alternatives." As the meeting descended into chaos, a calm voice cut through the noise. "May I speak?" The room fell silent as all eyes turned to Alara Vance. She had stood up, her posture straight but relaxed, her expression composed. "You?" Borak scoffed. What could a human possibly? Let her speak, Admiral Theron commanded, silencing the Kthar warrior. Alara walked to the central display and transferred data from her terminal. The hologram transformed into a complex array of energy patterns, wavelength analyses, and spatial temporal mapping. You've all been approaching the Void Devourers from the wrong perspective, she began, her voice steady. They aren't simply absorbing energy randomly. They're consuming it at a very specific resonance frequency that corresponds to local space-time structure. She highlighted a particular pattern in the display. I've analyzed the data from all encounters, including the most recent fleet destruction. There's a consistent pattern to their feeding cycle. They're most vulnerable during active energy absorption, particularly when processing large amounts at once. The room remained silent as Alara continued, explaining the intricate details of her analysis. She demonstrated how the Void Devourer's energy structure temporarily destabilized during massive consumption events, creating brief windows of vulnerability. Based on this data, I propose a different approach, she said, bringing up a new simulation. We lure one of the largest Void Devourers to a specific spatial location near an active neutron star. Pulsar X. 7 would be ideal due to its unique energy signature. She outlined her plan methodically. First, we deploy a decoy ship equipped with an overloading reactor core designed to attract and feed the Void Devourer, forcing it into maximum absorption state. The simulation showed a small vessel approaching the massive entity. Second, a specialized task force on a shielded vessel approaches both the Void Devourer and Pulsar X-7. Another ship appeared in the simulation, positioned between the cosmic predator and the neutron star. Finally, we use the immense energy pulse from Pulsar X-7, calibrated and amplified through a custom resonance device I've designed based on my analysis, to create a feedback wave at the exact disruption frequency that will tear apart the Void Devourer's energy structure from within while it's expanded to absorb energy from the decoy. The simulation concluded with the Void Devourer collapsing in on itself, dissolving into harmless energy dispersal. The room erupted in objections. "This is madness," Borak shouted. "You want to send a team close to both a Void Devourer and a neutron star? It's suicide. Manipulating a pulsar's energy output could have catastrophic consequences," Lyra warned. "The spatial distortions alone would tear a ship apart." Grok scrutinized the technical specifications of the resonance device. "This design, it's theoretically sound, but practically impossible to build and calibrate in our time frame." Alara didn't argue. Instead, she brought up more detailed simulations showing success probabilities that, while still dangerous, significantly exceeded any other proposed strategy. "We can't fight them on our terms," she stated simply. "We must use their nature against them. They feed on energy at specific frequencies. We can use that dependency to destroy them if we're precise enough." A few junior commanders, desperate for any solution, began nodding cautiously. Admiral Theron studied the data carefully. "The risk is enormous," he finally said. "But so is the threat of extinction. What resources would you need, Analyst Vance?" After tense deliberations, and with the threat of annihilation looming, the Galactic Alliance Council reluctantly approved Alara's plan. Admiral Theron assigned a small, elite team for the mission. Alara Vance, tactical commander and resonance device operator. Borak, forced to join as the primary pilot of the specialized vessel, despite his objections, due to his superior flight skills. Dr. Eris, a Cygnian energy physicist, initially skeptical but intrigued by Alara's theories, responsible for calibrating and monitoring the resonance device. Jax, a Voltec engineer, the only one genuinely excited by the challenge of building and maintaining the specialized shielding and resonance technology. A small support crew for the decoy ship operations and communications. The team was given a rushed deadline to prepare. The specialized vessel, named Echo Hammer, needed extensive modifications to withstand both the neutron star's radiation and the Void Devourer's energy fluctuations. The decoy ship, designated Beacon, had to be fitted with a precisely calibrated reactor designed to attract and occupy the cosmic predator. Tensions ran high as the team worked around the clock. Borak made no effort to hide his disdain for Alara, questioning her decisions at every turn. Human intuition is worthless against cosmic entities, he growled during one particularly heated exchange. You're leading us to our deaths. Alara didn't rise to his provocations, responding only with cold logic and comprehensive data. Your concerns are noted, Commander. The simulations account for those variables. Dr. Eris initially approached the project with scientific curiosity, but soon became a believer as Alara's theories proved consistently sound during testing. The mathematical precision is remarkable, she admitted, her telepathic abilities sensing no deception or uncertainty from the human, only intense focus. Jax became Alara's strongest ally, his Voltec pragmatism appreciating the elegant engineering solution she proposed. Together, they worked through seemingly impossible technical challenges, often staying awake for days at a time. This resonance calibrator shouldn't be possible with our current technology, Jax commented as they finalized the device. How did you conceptualize this? Alara merely shrugged. I saw the pattern in the data. The solution followed naturally. As preparations neared completion, Admiral Theron visited the hangar. Watching Alara work, he remarked to his aide, I've never seen a mind like hers. The humans have always been unpredictable, but this is different. The journey to Pulsar X7 was fraught with danger. The region of space surrounding the neutron star was a navigation nightmare, filled with radiation storms and gravitational anomalies. Borak's piloting skills were tested to their limits as he guided the Echo Hammer through the hazardous approach. Even if your theory is correct, he grudgingly admitted to Alara, as they narrowly avoided a particularly violent radiation wave, getting close enough to deploy your device might be impossible. Alara studied the sensor readings. The Pulsar's next major emission cycle begins in 43 minutes. We need to be in position by then. The gravitational distortions will provide momentary shielding if we time it precisely. The mission progressed according to plan, despite numerous close calls. The support crew deployed the beacon ship at the designated coordinates and initiated the reactor overload sequence. As predicted, a massive void devourer appeared within minutes, drawn to the energy signature. From the relative safety of their observation position, the crew of Echo Hammer watched as the cosmic predator approached the decoy. The void devourer was even more terrifying up close, a swirling maelstrom of dark energy that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around it. Goddess protect us, Dr. Eris whispered, feeling the alien consciousness at the edge of her telepathic awareness. It's hungry. So hungry. Beacon has been engaged, reported the communications officer. Reactor overload in progress. The entity is beginning absorption. Alara checked her instruments. We have a 19-minute window. Commander Borak, take us in. Borak gripped the controls, his face a mask of concentration. This is insanity, he muttered, but executed a perfect approach vector, navigating the ship through the treacherous space between the pulsar and the feeding void devourer. Echo Hammer's specialized shields strained under the combined stress of the neutron star's radiation and the energy fluctuations emanating from the void devourer. Warning systems blared throughout the ship as they penetrated deeper into the danger zone. Shield integrity at 62% and dropping. Jax reported, his mechanical appendages working furiously to maintain systems. We're experiencing power fluctuations in the main drive. The view from the command deck was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The Void Devourer had completely engulfed the beacon ship and was expanding rapidly as it consumed the overloading reactor. Its energy structure stretched thin, just as Alara had predicted. Pulsar emissions spike in 30 seconds, Dr. Eris announced, monitoring the neutron star's activity. Resonance device powered and ready for calibration. Position us between the pulsar and the target, Alara ordered. We'll only get one shot at this. Borak executed a final, precise maneuver, bringing Echo Hammer into the perfect position, directly in the path of the pulsar's energy beam, but protected by the specialized shielding. The ship shuddered violently as gravitational forces threatened to tear it apart. Pulsar emission. Now, Dr. Eris called. A blinding beam of concentrated energy erupted from the neutron star, striking Echo Hammer's collection array. The ship groaned under the strain as the resonance device began to capture and recalibrate the energy. Reactor temperature critical, Jax warned. The resonance chamber is barely holding. Alara's fingers flew across the control panel, making minute adjustments to the frequency calibration. Synchronizing with target's absorption frequency. Locked. Preparing feedback wave. The Void Devourer, still consuming the beacon ship, seemed to sense the danger too late. It began to contract, attempting to withdraw from the trap. Now, Alara commanded. The resonance device fired, channeling the recalibrated pulsar energy directly into the Void Devourer's expanded form. The feedback wave struck at precisely the creature's resonance frequency, disrupting its energy structure from within. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The Void Devourer convulsed violently, its form destabilizing as the energy it had consumed turned against it. The creature's attempts to escape or fight back created wild energy storms that lashed out in all directions. Echo Hammer was caught in the maelstrom. The ship spun wildly as energy tendrils whipped around it, tearing through the already strained shields. Main engine failure. Jax shouted over the cacophony of alarms. Shield collapse imminent. On the main viewer, they watched as the Void Devourer began to implode, its energy structure collapsing inward in a silent, brilliant display of light and power. The creature that had devoured entire fleets was being consumed by its own destabilized energy. Then came the shockwave, a ripple in space-time itself, as the entity's vast energy was released all at once. It struck Echo Hammer with devastating force, knocking out remaining systems and sending the ship tumbling through space. Life support failing, Dr. Eris reported, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. Hull breach on Deck 3. Jax, Alara called. We need emergency repairs to stabilize life support. The Voltec engineer nodded grimly. I'll have to go outside. The external conduits are damaged. As Jax prepared for the dangerous EVA, Borak struggled with the manual controls, trying to stabilize the ship's trajectory. We're being pulled back toward the neutron star's gravity well, he growled. Without main engines, we can't break free. Dr. Eris closed her eyes, using her limited telepathic abilities to sense immediate dangers. Another energy wave approaching from the entity's remains. Impact in approximately 2 minutes. Alara studied the ship's systems quickly, calculating possibilities. There's one option, she said finally. We can use the remaining power in the resonance device to create a single propulsion burst. It should be enough to push us clear of the pulsar's gravitational pull. But that would destroy the device, Jax protested through the comm as he worked on the hull. All that research, all that technology. The choice is the device or our lives, Alara responded calmly. I've made my decision. With seconds to spare, Alara rerouted the resonance device's power systems, converting the sophisticated instrument into a makeshift propulsion unit. As the approaching energy wave loomed large on their sensors, she activated the system. The resulting burst of energy shot Echo Hammer clear of the danger zone, just as the wave passed through their previous position. The resonance device, Alara's revolutionary creation, shattered under the strain, components fusing and melting into useless slag. The ship drifted in space, operating on minimal emergency power. The crew gathered on the bridge, looking back at the now empty region where the Void Devourer had been destroyed. It worked, Dr. Eris whispered in disbelief. It actually worked. Borak stared at Alara, his expression unreadable. We survived. Barely. The Alliance will send rescue once they realize we succeeded, Alara said, checking the emergency beacon. We just need to hold out until then. In the silence that followed, They contemplated the emptiness of space where their enemy had been and the quiet human who had found its weakness. 3 days later, an Alliance rescue vessel located Echo Hammer, drifting at the edge of the Pulsar system. The team was brought back to Alliance headquarters, where they were greeted as heroes, albeit with a new, cautious respect. In the same strategic room where the crisis had begun, Alara Vance delivered her mission report to the assembled Alliance leadership. Her presentation was succinct, focused on data and results rather than the harrowing experience the team had endured. The resonance principle proved effective, she concluded. With the data we've gathered, similar devices could be constructed to combat other void devourers. The energy signature analysis provides a template for early detection systems as well. When she finished, Commander Borak stood. The Cathar warrior's usual aggressive stance was subdued. "I was wrong," he stated bluntly, addressing both Alara and the Council. The human's approach was correct. Her calculations were precise. Her courage was. He seemed to struggle with the words, "worthy of a Cathar warrior." Dr. Eris added her own assessment. Analyst Vance's understanding of energy patterns is beyond anything in our scientific community. The resonance technology she developed could revolutionize our approach to non-corporeal threats. Jax, whose mechanical limbs still showed damage from the emergency repairs, nodded enthusiastically. The engineering principles she applied were elegant and innovative. I've already begun incorporating some of her design elements into new shield technology. Admiral Theron studied Alara thoughtfully. Your silence in our initial meeting was not emptiness, but deep calculation that we couldn't comprehend. The Alliance owes you a debt, Analyst Vance. Around the table, the representatives of various species regarded the human with new respect and a hint of fear. The ability she had demonstrated had forced a re-evaluation of humanity's potential. The Strategic Command Division would like to offer you a senior advisory position, Theron continued, specializing in non-traditional threats. Your perspective has proven invaluable. Alara accepted the offer with a simple nod. Months later, another crisis meeting was convened. A new threat had emerged along the outer territories. Strange crystalline structures that appeared to be terraforming planets into uninhabitable environments. As the various species fell into their typical pattern of debate, the Cathar advocating for military strikes, the Signians suggesting communication attempts, the Voltex proposing technological countermeasures, Admiral Theron's gaze drifted to Alara Vance. She sat at her new position at the council table, once again silent, her attention focused on her terminal. On her screen, complex equations and models scrolled by, incomprehensible to anyone else in the room. Commander Borak, seated across from her, caught Theron's glance. The Cathar warrior looked at Alara, then back to the Admiral. This time, his expression held no contempt, only a flicker of concern and anticipation. The message was clear. When the human got quiet, perhaps the rest of the galaxy should start worrying or running.